And joining me now is number 14 ranked man on the WBO, number 15 by the WBC. He's 18-2 with 9 KOs. Justin Pauldo. Justin, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
Be on.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of things I want to get into today, but the very first question I got for you is that you go by the $1 Million Man. Can you take us to that
Yes.
nickname? How'd that come to be?
That was just a nickname that we came up with, being that the dream is to make a lot of money in the sport of boxing and just to inspire millions of kids around the world. So we just took it from there, and started calling myself the $1 Million Man.
All right, so what got you into boxing, though? We go all the way back. What was the reason you started boxing?
Well, I never even had a choice. My dad put me in it.
All right.
Since I was young as I can remember, I was boxing. I had my first amateur fight at 8, and boxing has been my whole life.
When would you say was the point that it started to really click for you? You said, this is not just what my dad's made me do, but this is what I want to do with my life. Like, this is something I got talent in. And I also love it now.
Well, after I was about 17 years old, I had about a 2 or 3 year layoff. And I came back. I chose the sport for myself. I
Mhm.
turned pro, and I fell in love with it all over again. And I knew it was something that I could do, that I could make a living out of.
So I want to ask you then, why did you take that break?
I was just getting caught up in a lot of trouble and things and being unfocused. And
Mhm.
at that time, I never really liked the boxing as a kid. It wasn't fun to me because I was more felt like I was forced to do it.
Fair.
But once I was able to choose it for myself, and I knew I really did love the sport.
All right. So what was it during that layoff and that you started saying, you know what, I feel like boxing is actually what I love now. I feel like this is going to become that thing that I want to pursue.
Yeah. Well, I knew that was to be a way to get me back focused and get me on the right track and get me out of doing all the wrong things that I was doing in that time.
Hmm.
So I made the choice to get back in the gym, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life.
So when you started going through that process then and you look at where you are today, was that what you expected? Did you expect to see yourself as a guy that's going to be ranked in the top 15, a guy that's going to fight big fights, be on a co-main event type of cards? Is that what you expected when you kind of officially committed to the sport, or when did that start clicking for you?
Well, absolutely, that was the dream from day one. I always knew I had the talent, but the main thing is just with me just being focused and keeping my mind 100% on boxing. But this is being in the top 15. That's just the tip of the iceberg for me.
Yeah.
I got world championship potential, and I know I can be a world champion in the sport, and I can do great things. So this is just the beginning.
Well, you had a most recent fight, February 8th, one of the biggest knockouts of the year, most likely. It's one of the biggest already. Who knows what's going to happen the rest of the year, but it's going to be up there certainly as one of the KOs of the year. And that fight, the KO was great, but the performance all around was what was spectacular, in my opinion. You talk about you getting the knockdown earlier on. You go through the entire fight. It was probably, in my opinion, was your best performance of what I've seen. Would you say it's an accurate statement against Shavkat? Was that your best performance you've had to date?
Well, I think absolutely it was because fighting a guy with so much experience and a guy who had been world champion,
Yep.
it was very motivating for me to be able to settle in with him, and it brought something out of me, I guess, that night. And I just remained focused through the fight. I came in the fight with a great game plan, and I followed it to a T. And
Yeah.
everything played out how I figured it would.
Can you break this down a little bit more for us? Because when you talk about combat sport, when it's all on yourself, it's not a team, you're all by yourself, the pressure's on yourself, and you get an opportunity like this to go face a guy that was a former world champion, a guy that has great pedigree, and you know that if you were to go win that fight, your name will probably be top 15. That's going to lead to more bigger fights for yourself, bigger opportunities for yourself.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind as you're preparing through that camp, knowing what the potential outcome could be if that goes the way you want it to?
Well, me, I never get caught up on all the extra things. I just look at it as I take everything one day at a time, and I know
Okay.
I had to go in there and just win. That's the main thing my mind was on. I really wasn't worried about what come with it so much. It was just about going out and putting on a great performance and winning. And as long as I stay focused on that, I'm a dominate these fighters, and everything else will come.
It's not too shocking to hear because when I was talking to you a little bit now and we look through some of your posts, the way you fight, there seems to be a certain mentality that you're always locked in. Like, it's
Yeah.
not about all the extra stuff. I know some boxers like to go do the social media stuff, and there's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But it seems like your mindset is, hey, I got a goal. That's the goal I'm going to accomplish. Whatever's in my way, I'm going to have to go through it, or I have to get out of my way. Would you say that's an accurate statement? Is that kind of how your mentality works?
Absolutely. I'm a very driven person, and once I put my mind set on something, it's nothing stopping me. I'm going to get it. And I don't let nothing sidetrack me at this point. I'm just staying focused 100% on the goal. And each fight, I look at it the same way. I got a job to do, and I stay 100% focused on that, and I'm going to go in there and do it.
All right, so let's go into the details of the Shavkat fight because I said Obviously, that was a masterful performance. You had a game plan, you execute that game plan to perfection, and obviously the KO is what everyone's going to remember it as, and so on and so forth. But those that watch the fight know the details, the way you led up, the way you're beating him throughout the rounds, getting a knockdown earlier on. Walk us through just that fight as you're going through the midst of it, the confidence, the way you're growing, the way you adjusted, whatever it might be. Just break down the fight a little more in detail there.
With the fight, I just went out there. I stayed focused on what the game plan was, and that was to go out and use my jab. Um, make sure I never let this guy get started, and I started early on this guy, working him up and down, working the body and the head. And
Mhm.
I knew I was a lot stronger than him, and I was the all around more skilled fighter. So with that being said, I just let my hands go, and everything played out right. And once I started to break him down, I went ahead and put the power on him and got him out of there.
Now, for those that are not aware, before that fight, you were coming off of a loss, and also about a year off of being laid off, not fighting. Was that just walk us through that year? Because obviously you come off a loss, and in the boxing world today, well, I disagree with it. A lot of people say the loss is this damaging thing on people's resume, could do things at boxing or whatever. In my opinion, it's something that just you can learn from to get better. It's not that big of a deal, but that still was for yourself. You took a loss, you get almost a year off. There was a lot of pressure, at least from the outside looking in, on you for that fight, and you're also the underdog heading in there. What was that year off? Just kind of preparing, changing, developing. I don't know, whatever you did. What was that year off leading up to the fight like for yourself?
The main thing during that year off, I just focused on tweaking all the things I felt I need to get better. I stayed in the gym, so I was never out the gym, and I was ready when the phone call came.
Okay.
So, with that being done, every day just focusing on getting better and better. When I did get the fight, I knew that I was prepared to come in there and do what I need to do to put on an excellent performance.
So was that old year off? Was that something kind of planned by yourself? Did you want at least some sort of amount of time off to kind of work on your game, fine tune it, or was that just because of the way the business works in boxing that you weren't able to get in the ring for almost a year?
But not necessarily, it was just the way the business worked. And I had a
Okay.
small injury dealing with my hands, and I just wanted to make sure when I came back, I was at 100%, and I'd be ready to go.
All right. So on your resume, you do have those two losses. And like I said, for me, I think the biggest thing is that if you learn from those losses, it's going to make you a better fighter down the road, anyways. And obviously, we've seen that so far come to fruition for yourself. From
Yeah.
those two losses in your careers, specifically each one individually, what would you say is the biggest thing you learned about yourself and you were able to grow in from those two losses?
Well, the main thing I learned that I'm unbreakable.
Mm.
No matter how what happens, I'm gonna keep going at the goal I got at hand. I don't call for spilled milk. I just keep going. I suck it up and keep moving. Even though I feel I won both of those fights.
You cut out the last part. It cut off like right before, even though with both of those, and then it cut out.
No, I was saying that I never dwell on spoiled milk. I just
Mm,
keep going, and I knew that I couldn't be broken when it comes to the goals that I have set in life or in the sport of boxing. I ain't gonna let nothing deter me from that, a loss or not. I'm gonna go out and be better the next fight.
absolutely, man. Well, there's something I want to touch up on. It goes back quite a couple years, I think 3 or 4 years. And there was a big fight you were going to be part of against Raleigh. And obviously, that situation came. You ended up missing your weight by 5 pounds. And also, was a medical issue, I believe. Can you take us through that fight? What all went down in that situation?
Well, with that fight, the fight was on short notice, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I always, like I said before, on interviews, I think I could have been more professional year round, make sure that I was close to the weight and I was ready to take full advantage of the opportunity that was at hand. But I couldn't make the weight. I wound up having some medical problems trying to kill myself to make the weight. But that's a fight that I still would love to have in the future.
And that's the reason I actually asked that question because that is a possibility now. You've got your name up on the resume, and obviously I know Raleigh always has a fight in a couple weeks now coming up, so it wouldn't be in the next couple weeks or whatever like that. But is that a fight that you see happening down the road, whether it be 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever it is? Do you see that fight possibly coming to fruition eventually?
Well, you never know in the sport of boxing. You
Fair
never know
enough.
what's going to happen with him after this fight, or how that's going to go. But of course, I'm open to it, and I love to share the ring with him. He's established himself in the sport. He's been part of some big fights, so why not?
All right, so now let's look at what you could possibly have in store for you next. You last fought February 8th. Is there a timeline that you want to get back in the ring by?
Well, it's looking like I'll be back in the ring this coming June, and
Okay.
I'll be making an announcement on that real soon. And I look forward to going out and just putting on a great performance.
Are there some guy that you want to fight? Like, I don't know if the deal's already worked out. Do you have your fighter locked down, I guess, by now already? Or is that something you're going to announce later on? Or is that still in the progress of who you're going to fight possibly?
Everything will be being announced very soon in the next coming weeks. But right now, I'm looking forward, and I'm in the top 15 in the world in two section bouts, the WBC and the WBO.
Yep.
So I want any guy with the names, all the big fighters. That's the fights I want to be a part of.
Is there a certain guy that you look at and you say you would want to fight, whether it be this next fight or it's down the road and by the end of this year, whatever it is? Is there someone that you target that you say, you know what, that's a guy I want to fight?
Well, I don't really look at it like that. I want to fight whoever at the top who got the belts. That's the guys I want to fight,
Fair
and it's
enough.
whoever got the belt when it's time for me to fight for it. Um, it's not none. Boxing is not personal to me. I got no personal vendetta against no fighter saying, "Oh, I just want to fight this guy because of this or that." God
Okay.
has done it to me personally, but I'm a competitor, so I want to fight the best fighters that's out there, and because I believe that I can beat them.
I like the mentality because I know a lot of guys do get caught up in. I said I think a lot of it for most guys, there probably are some certain situation, but a lot of it is social media feud to build a fight up and whatnot, and that is what it is. The business side, I get it, but like you said, I respect that. I respect the fact that you say, you know, well, I just want to go fight somebody because I have a goal. I want that championship belt one day. Was that always your mentality? Is that something you developed over time, or just take us to that mentality?
That's just who I am as a person. I'm a very serious guy, so I'm not gonna really do all the internet games back and forth and stuff.
Okay.
Um, I look at this. This is a business to me, so it's just about going out there and doing my job. It's nothing personal. But when it's time to step in the ring, I'm gonna come do what I'm supposed to do.
All right. So if you were to put a timeline for yourself and you look at possibly, you know, the next year, 12 to 18 months, let's say, things can happen. Who knows what God's got in store for you? What do you see in store for your next 12 to 18 months? What do you want to accomplish? What do you see getting done? How many fights do you want? What's that kind of timeline look like for yourself?
In the next 12 to 18 months, I plan on stepping in the ring to fight for the world championship and coming out with my hands raised as the new world champion.
Absolutely, man. Well, I got a couple more things before I let you go. And one of those things is I always like discussing your legacy because I think it's always the biggest thing. What do you want to be remembered for? And so when that day does come and you decide to step away from boxing, what do you want that legacy for yourself to be?
I love to be remembered as a guy who just went out and gave my all and showed that no matter how you start, it's all about how you finish. I want to inspire kids and just let them know that no matter where you're coming from, you can make it. You can change the path of your life and you can do something with yourself and turn negative things that you maybe have done, being a part of, into a positive.
So when you talk about not being that role model, being a reflection, I'm sure you already are that now in the world. What does that mean to you now that you now have a added kind of eye set upon you? You now have this chance to be a role model for guys, like little kids to say, hey, from your area, from growing up where you're from, you can say, hey, I want to be like Justin. I want to be like a guy like him. What does that mean to you?
And of course, that means a lot to me. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. So at the same time, I got to always remain professional and lead by example.
Absolutely, man. Well, Justin, I appreciate taking time to come on today, man. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that announcement is. I can't wait to see what God's got next for you, got in store for your next fight, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on, man. I truly appreciate being a part of the show. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. Justin, you're always appreciated and always welcome on, man. God bless you, man.
Thank you. You too.